decisions, whereas before it did sort of feel like they couldn't. And in part 3, as we mentioned, we were introduced to the idea of choice so that we could make our own decisions with the word Timshel, which translates to Thou Mayest, because Lee found a discrepancy in the story of Cain and Abel in the translations he was seeing in the American Standard Version and the King James Version, where in the King James Version, the Bible says, God says to Cain, thou shalt, or Jehovah says to Cain, thou shalt overcome his sin, or overcome your sin. And in the American Standard Version, the translation is different, and it says, do thou overcome your sin. I don't remember exactly what it says, but those are the key words, because one is a promise that eventually you will overcome your sin. There's no need to worry. The train is in motion, and the other, of course, is a command. You have no choice. You will do it. Or else, I guess. But thou mayest offers an opportunity to overcome through your own actions. And that's what we're going to talk about in part 4. The tragedy of this whole thing. We've already had, Charles betraying and trying to kill Adam. We've had Adam marry his Eve and bring her to his Eden, and we've seen how that we've seen where that got him. He got him shot in the shoulder, and his wife becoming a prostitute or a whoremaster. A madam is the term for women, I guess. And we've seen his boys go without a name for over a year, and then he's sort of neglectful of him because he's a really bad father, to be honest. Lee is the real father. He is the best character in this whole book, and anyone that doesn't recognize that, crazy, I think. Anyway, wrong is at the very least. Anyway, in this chapter, just to give a quick rundown, we see Adam try to get into refrigeration to send some lettuce up to New York, and everything goes wrong, and he loses all that money, except the money that he does generate from the ice plant that he bought, which pays for itself and offers a little bit of profit. But because of this grand scheme that he came to Will Hamilton with, and he's lost a lot of money, all of his family, his 2 sons, one who he admires and the other one he seems to not care for as much. Not that he doesn't like him. It's just Adam is adamant about his love of Aaron. And Cal, no one really likes him. Whenever he tries to act like Adam, or whenever he tries to act like Aaron, everyone sees it as fault. They're very much like Kathy in a way, where he's got the personality of Kathy, but he's also got good in him, because he can see the good in people, unlike Kathy, who cannot see any good in it. But Aaron has the looks and the attention, the same way of grabbing everyone's attention and everyone loving him. But everyone starts calling them lettuce heads, which drives Aaron crazy, and he's upset with his father because he's sort of obsessed with the image of his mother being this pure thing, which we know she is not. We've seen him get some doubt in his mind that she isn't dead, as my nose is tickling me and it's driving me insane. I apologize. And, there's a conversation with Aaron, I think, and Lee, or is it Caleb and Lee? I can't remember, where they talk about lying, and lying being the worst thing that could happen. It will totally shatter your image of everything, being caught in a horrible lie, which course, happens in this chapter. Anyway, they get called lettuce heads, which drives Aaron further away from his father. And he starts becoming more of a pious kind of person, and he wants to go, he skips a grade, and he goes to study. And, he has this idea of becoming a minister, which really upsets Abra, because of what a minister should do. And in a way, she becomes much closer to the Trasks, Caleb, and Adam later in the story. But let's see. Okay, now where things get like really juicy. Cal, he has found his mother, but he hasn't told anybody. He tells Lee that he met her and asks about her. I think before he has a sit down with her just to, and anyway, he decides, because he is desperate for attention from his father. They have this great conversation with each other where Adam says, like, I don't even know you. And he doesn't, because he's a terrible father. Lee knows them. And I would, like, I don't know the first thing about you. And Cal, who just, like, he's really excited. Finally, a moment of attention from my father, who I dearly love. He says something like, I would tell you if you ask. I'll tell you if you ask. And, they have this great bonding moment. But he still feels a bit of resentment toward Aaron, who he constantly picks on and bullies and thinks can be stupid sometimes, even though he loves him, thinks he's, he sees the good in him, unlike Kathy, who, during this time is like constantly thinking of Aaron. When she thinks of Cal, she thinks, he's the son of a gun, we'll say, but don't think that, because it might be true. And when she thinks of Aaron, that really drives her for a loop, and eventually she kills herself because of some other things happening in her life where it feels like things are coming crashing down. So Cal gets the idea because World War I is coming up. He gets the idea, which Will told Adam a long time ago, and Adam told Lee. He gets the idea when he goes to Will, if I could say he gets the idea enough, to plant beans. They sell for 3 cents a bushel. I forgot what the unit was. But he thinks, okay, let's buy them for 5, and then we'll sell them because they're going to need them for the war effort. And they do, and they sell them, they double up over. They sell them for 12.5 per bushel. Cents, not dollars. And they come into, Cal gets like $15,000, which is quite a bit of money. I can't even imagine what that would be in today's money, but $15,000 in the teens, man, out good. Let's just say that. What he wants to do is to use this money to give it to his father to make up for the money that Adam lost, which makes perfect sense, I think. They've lost a lot of money because of that idea, and he wants to make up for his father to, give him a comfortable life and all that stuff, and like, oh, here's the money you lost. But at the same time, he does sort of feel like, I am buying my love. I'm buying my father's love. And he feels mixed about it because he has great intentions, but it also comes at the expense of being about buying his father's love, which he desperately wants because his father, again, is not a good father. And at this time, Adam become head of the board to sort of pick and choose who goes out to die in the war, to fight in the war. and that weighs a heavy toll on him because, that has serious implications. One day, they all, I think it's Thanksgiving, if I remember correctly. It's Thanksgiving. Cal is at college, and he's come back, and Adam is stoked. He's just so proud of his son. Not Cal. Sorry, Aaron has come back from college, and Adam is just thrilled. And at this time, Cal decides, I'm going to give the money now, and explain where it came from and all that stuff. And Adam rejects it because he feels like he can't profit off of this war because he's sending out young men to go die. And we've got the whole Cain and Abel thing coming back. He was the original Abel in this story. Now we've got his son, Aaron, who's just come back from college and is getting all the praise, but rejected with his knife. $15,000 gets rejected. And Cal was already worked up about feeling guilty about trying to buy his father's love. And he's already had resentment with his brother. And he just loses it. And it's just so tragic. I mean, it really is. Anyway, he ends up telling his brother about their mother, who wills her money to Aaron, which I'm not sure if that's meant to be a good thing or one more sort of like got him before she kills herself. But because of this, Aaron signs up for the war effort, and in his time he dies. And in a way, much like Cain slew Abel, Cal slew Aaron. Not directly, but through his efforts of revenge on his brother by telling him something that he desperately didn't need to know, that his father had been lying the whole time, that their mother is not a pure angel saint, which he has been placing that ideal on Abra, and she's frustrated by that. Cain kills Abel, Cal kills Aaron, and Cal feels tremendous guilt over this. And unfortunately, near the end of the book, Adam has had some mini strokes and a bigger stroke, and he doesn't have long. And Abra and Lee and Cal are at his deathbed. And Lee begs Adam not to reject his son because his son needs him. Of all times, he needs him now so that he's not lost, so that he doesn't probably become like Kathy, because there's still good in him. And I'll just read now. The whole bed seemed to shake under the concentration. Adam's breath came quick with his effort, and then, slowly, his right hand lifted an inch, and then fell back. This is the very end of the book, by the way, so if you don't want to know it, I don't know how you got through this whole video, but there it is. Lee's face was haggard. He moved to the head of the bed and wiped the sick man's damp face with the edge of the sheet. He looked down at the closed eyes. Lee whispered, "Thank you, Adam. Thank you, my friend. Can you move your lips? Make your lips form his name?" Adam looked up with sick weariness. His lips parted and failed and tried again. Then his lungs filled. He expelled the air, and his lips combed the rushing sigh. His whispered word seemed to hang in the air. Timshel. His eyes closed, and he slept. Whew. It doesn't have the same dramatic impact when I'm just telling you, but Charles, Cal has come for forgiveness, to overcome this overbearing guilt that he feels over the sin, the crime that he's committed against his own family and his father. I suppose, now that I read it again, it could be that, I don't know. It's just, it moves me so much, because his father is accepting him, but giving him the choice to overcome his own sin. He's not telling him you have to as a command. He's not saying that you will in time. He's saying it depends on you. Depends on you to be a good person, to be a better person, to fight the evil inside of you, the bad things that you inherited from your mother, for example. Those ambitions and those drives inside of you that push you to do things that could harm other people. It depends on you. Timshel, thou mayest. But as we know, if thou mayest, certainly then thou mayest not. And that's all I've got to say. I just love it. It's a really amazing message, that, there's good in the world, and, it's worth fighting for, but it's up to you. And I love this book. I love it as much as I read it when I read it the first time, just because the ending is still so strong. The other parts, when I first read them, I wasn't as sold on them, and I had more issues with them, but I still found I found reading the whole thing rewarding. But yeah, Timshel, thou mayest. Thank you.